So, let's talk about it. So you can see my screen right here. Let me go ahead and go to Miguel. Let me try to zoom in so I can talk about each change. And then I'm gonna really examine what this means. So, for starters, before I get into this, I want to say that here's just some of the complaints I have, not even with just this change list, but also with season 2 change list, which was amazing for Miguel, by the way. They buffed so many things, gave him a full combo conversion off of 4, buffed Savage 4, made homing Savage down back 4, made that homing and made it faster, made 1-2 1+2 faster, made the 1-2-4 knockdown, increased the damage on Savage 2, I believe, increased the damage on Savage down back 3. They did so many good things on Savage season 2. But one of the things I've noticed is that they're trying to gear you to play a certain way with Miguel. They're trying to gear you to play, hey, they're trying to gear him kind of to be a long-range poker, you know what I mean? A long-range poke character. I guess increasing the hitbox size of down forward 4. Increasing hitbox size of down of forward 4, which was warranted. And then making 4, standing 4, convert to a full combo like everybody else, right? But at the same time, you're nerfing down forward 1 and all the strings when it comes to that. So down forward 1-2 is negative 12 frames. You make it, and actually I have the season 2 patch notes right here. And I'm going to be rambling, so just bear with me. So if you look right here, down forward 1-2. Down forward 1-2, where is this move? Yeah, down forward 1-2, let's zoom in right here. If you look at this move right here, down forward 1-2, recovery on block increased for both players by 4 frames. This is for season 2 changes. And this matters when I start talking about the season 3 changes. So recovery increased by 4 frames for both players. It's still negative 12. What does that mean? That means for the opponent, it's easier to react and punish down forward 1-2. You know, after you think they're going to continue or they're going to do a high or something, then they do down forward 1-2. It's easier to punish them. So they weakened. This is what people don't talk about. They weakened down forward 1 series a lot from the season 2 changes by making right here down forward 1-1-2. Change it from 10 frames to 12 frames on block, and change it from +4 to +2. And as we Miguel players know, what can you really do with +2? You can't really do anything, you know. If you can't get a down for 1, at least if it's not at least +3, then can't do anything with that. So they really nerfed this series. And then people will say, well, this was just the green rank killer stuff, like Main Man said or whatever. Or this is, you know, more skillful Miguel players don't really use all these string extensions, so whatever. But no, it's important because that's a way you can play Miguel. It's doing strings, mixing up, and then finishing with either choosing to enter to Sav or manually not entering Savage stance and continuing your offense, right? So the fact that it's so diminished on hit and block, you see how they're nerfing both sides to where it leaves down forward 1 options not really a good tool, you know? And so then you have to rely on standing 4. You have to rely on 4-4. You have to rely on down 1-2. You know what I mean? So you're playing him like a kind of a long range poking character, because what are you going to use to get in? You know what I mean? Or his tackle, or 4-4-2-1, which they did well on season 2 by making 4-4-2-2 right here. Making 4-4-2-2 -14 to -13, making 1+2 1+2, -15 -14. So that was great changes. And making forward 4 2 from -13 -12. So they're encouraging you to use pokes, and they're discouraging you from using mix-ups. If you look at it, you know what I mean, for season 2. Okay, fine. This is the way they want you to play the character, right? And I actually disagree with that, but I see what they're doing. And so now let's go to season 3, and let's keep that in mind. With the changes in season 2, let's go to season 3. So, and I'm gonna try to make this quick because it's super hot here in the Southwest, man. It's literally over 100 degrees as I record this. So this is season 3, right? Okay. Now let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I wonder if you guys can see this. Let me try to zoom in a little more. Okay. All right. So. Okay. So. First off, I don't even understand this. Down back 1 + 2. What the hell is that? That doesn't make sense. He doesn't even have a move with that command. So I'm gonna skip that. I don't even know what that is. 3-4. Let's talk about this. See, I feel like people don't really play Miguel enough or don't really explore all his options. So they just discount certain things. They just focus on the big changes or nerfs. Let's talk about 3-4. That's a nerf. That's a nerf. You would think, oh, well, no, it's good because now the second hit comes out 7 frames slower or 7 frames faster, which means it's easier to combo out of 3-4. No, it's not. So the second hit may catch people, yeah. It may spiral people out of longer combos that it previously didn't. But have you ever tried to use 3-4 in a combo? Do you know how far it sends them? It didn't nerf the distance it sends the person after getting hit by the 4 kick. And do you know the recovery time on 3-4 is, I don't have the frames up right now, but the recovery time after the last 4 kick is there's a lot of recovery frames. It's very slow. So by the time you're done doing the kick and then the person has hit the ground, you don't even have enough time to run up to him and do a down for 1 or do what you got to do. It's actually very hard. This is coming from somebody who makes combo videos. It's extremely difficult to do 3-4, and the damage is not that much better than just doing the standard, savage down 4-1, down 2-2, right? It is. I think that's one of his most hardest combo conversions post spiral is after 3-4. So just because the 4 will come out faster and it'll hit him, it'll still send him because 3-4 sends him further than savage 4 and down forward 2-2. You know what I mean? Down forward 2-2 keeps him the closest, or rather Miguel keeps his forward momentum after he spirals an opponent so that it's easier for him to combo. But 3-4 sends him further than any of the spiral options. You know what I mean? So just because it's faster and you'll be able to get a combo from it, it's still going to be hard as crap to complete a combo if you ever tried it. So that just nullifies that argument, in my opinion. And he didn't even need another way to combo. He already has plenty of good options, savage 4 and down 2-2. He has plenty of options to do that. So that's neither here nor there. But now let me tell you why it's a nerf. 3-4 can't be delayed. 3-4 can't be delayed. So you're going to use it as a punisher, right? As a 13 frame punisher, right? You're going to use it. It can't be delayed. It's minus, what is it? And it's helpful to have these season 2 patch up. Season 3-4, that is minus 12 on block. Okay, whatever. It's cool. So you can't. You're going to use it as a punisher or a whiff punisher. You know what I mean? It's natural. But when somebody blocks it, then you're going to get a 12 frame punished, right? But the thing is, the good thing about 3-4 was that sometimes you can just throw out a 3. Just like you throw out a down for 1, and then you may throw out down for 1-1. You throw out a 3, then you throw out a 3-4. You know what I mean? So when you throw out a 3, you condition them to just expect the 3, right? Since that's safe. And then the 3-4 will counter hit them. And then you can get a full combo off of that. Not only that, even if you don't mix it up, if you throw out 3-4, then just because it's 30 frame startup, that's slow. So, because think about it, if it was just a normal move, a 30 frame startup move, if you just did the 4, that's super slow. So if you throw out the 3-4 without mixing it up, then the sheer delay of the 4 will make them like try to interrupt you or try and do something else, or because in the heat of the battle they'll think, okay, he just did the 3, so I'm good. And then they'll try and sidestep, do a move, do something else, and then they'll get caught by the 4. This happens on the low level to the high level players, to where just because of how slow the move is, it's actually a mix up to do the 3-4, because a lot of people don't expect you to finish out the 4. Similar to doing forward 4-2, the little power crush into the punch. It's so slow that it actually serves as a mix up. If you have an impatient opponent, or you've just been doing the 4-4. So the fact that it's 7 frames slower means that now nobody's going to get caught by that hit, because that was something people got caught by, at least in my experience, on season 1 and in season 2, when it was natural, when it wasn't natural, and when it was 15 frames, I believe, and when it was 13 frames, like I said. So now that it's 23 frames, I assume it's gonna look more like a natural hit, and I'm not even sure if it'll gel, or they'll even be able to interrupt after. You know what I mean? But imagine if it like gels or something, then who's gonna get counter hit by the 4 kick, which leads to monster damage, and you can do a face splatting. You know, you can do all types of setups after they get counter hit by the 4, to where they'll be face splat, and then you can do a savage down forward 2, and then you can relaunch them and the whole shenanigans. So it's actually a really good setup to try and hit them with the counter hit 4. But now they're 7 frames slower, like I said, nobody's gonna get hit by that because it's so fast. So they're not gonna, you know what I mean? They're not gonna try and interrupt it, because it'll already come out, you know what I mean? Then they're just gonna block it and then punish you. So it's actually making this move more punishable. It's not like the 3 itself is faster. No, it's the same speed. It's natural, you know? But the fact that the whole string is fast and not delayable, you know what I mean? And now more streamlined, then either they're gonna get hit by it, or they're gonna block both hits and they're gonna punch you. But there's not gonna be a mix up with doing a 3 and a 4, and then they block the 3, and then they'll try and attack or backdash or something, and then they'll get caught by the 4. That's no longer a possibility, you know? So that's why it's a nerf. All right, let's move on. The 4. Now this is what everybody's talking about. Change the damage from 17 to 14. Decrease the move's reach. See, this is what I'm talking about. Remember what I talked about earlier in the video about the season 2 changes, how they're trying to encourage you more to use pokes and less mix-ups, right? Less strings. I guess that's how they want Miguel to be played. Well, then why are you changing the damage, decreasing the damage and decreasing the reach? You know what I mean? So what do you want? How do you want him to play? If you're gonna nerf his poking, and 4 was actually a really good poking option. You know what I mean? That reach. That was like one of his few good moves that actually had like reach on it. You know what I mean? Even before it converted to a full combo, it was still a good move to throw out for keep out and stuff like that. You know, and was, yeah. So even when it was -7, it's -9 now. But yeah. So, and you gotta compare the changes from season 2 to season 3. So this was a nerf, -9 on block, changed to +5 on hit, which means you can convert it now, right? And then now the damage is decreased and the move range is decreased. But you have to also consider on season 2 that now it's more negative. So other than the fact that you can now get a 4-4-2 or a 4-4-2 or another 4 and then bound them, is the 4 move better or worse than season 1? You know what I mean? Other than counter hitting somebody, it's actually worse than season 1. You know what I mean? That's gonna be a trend you're gonna see as I go through the list. It's actually worse. That's not a. I mean, obviously you can say that, the fact that I can get a full combo means that it doesn't matter what they do to it, it's still better. But decreasing the move's reach on a character that already has massive reach problems, is that good? And this is just me speaking kind of objectively about Miguel. I personally don't really even use 4 like that. That's not something in my arsenal. And I personally don't feel that 4 is an important tool set in Miguel's arsenal. You know, I feel like his strength lies with his mix-up strings that leave the opponent standing, negative on block, and with the ability for him to transition to sab. I feel like that's where he's strongest. To me, I'm not as like shocked about this change as other Miguel players. You'll see people who don't play Miguel on the outside when just looking at general season 3 nerfs, and they'll be like, oh man, Miguel players must be mad the 4 got nerfed and stuff like that. But for me personally, that's not and that's not really an important nerf, you know. Okay, the damage was changed in the reach. We'll see how far it is, but you know, it's not that important for me personally. But just in terms of objectively, like I said, for Miguel's tool set, then it just doesn't make sense. How do you want this character to be played? You nerf his mix-ups with down forward 1, and then now you're nerfing his pokes. You know what I mean? So that's just one of the complaints I have. But all in all, like I said, I don't really care about the 4 nerf. Even though people have you believe that's like the worst nerf he's gotten in his patch notes. So down for 2-1. And another thing I want to bring up is that, man, there's a couple things I want to bring up. I should have wrote notes for this. Down for 2-1. A lot of times when they change, it's like they don't have, it's like they forget to make updates to lesser picked characters. Remember how they said they were going to improve or redo the race drive for Miguel in season 2, and that never happened? Also, do you remember when they said that, and I have the notes right here, I'm pretty sure it's here, actually. Down for 2-1, opponent further away on block. Do you remember this? This is season 2. And I don't have Tekken up right now, but go on Tekken as you watch this video and then do down for 2-1 and set the opponent to guard all. The opponent literally does not even move back at all. He's right in Miguel's face if he blocks it down for 2-1. So this change never happened. Did they forget? You know what I mean? Is that, you know what I mean? And do you remember, at least in Street Fighter 4 times, when they made changes to characters, they'd explain why they did it. And was it too cheap? How it leads to a different style of gameplay? How it's a rebalancing? They'd at least explain why they made certain changes to Street Fighter 4. The fact that there's no person to talk to, no forum to say, hey, this is why we changed this character for Negan, Miguel, Gigas, whatever. Like, where is this update? Did y'all forget? Is this like what a professional company does? You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. So that's one thing I just wanted to throw out there. Down for 2-1, shorten the recovery time if the move hits by 3 frames. Now this is a legitimate buff. People are saying you'll be able to do down back 2 after catching with this, because before you could do standing 4, down back 2, and then down for 1. But then down for 1, especially after season 2, like whiffed against half the cast. So there wasn't really a reliable strong combo you could do after down for 2-1. So the fact that the shorten the recovery time after the move hits by 3 frames, that's good. That means he should be able to get better combo options and more damaging combo options. So that's good. So it's a good buff. Again, I have to come outside of myself and look at it. I don't even use down for 2-1 at all. There's no reason for me to use that. Other than if I know the punish is like 16 frames, but no, I'll just use a hop kick. You know, it's just more consistent, reliable damage and easier combo. So I personally don't use it, but it's a good buff for people who do. Down for decrease the distance. Okay, at first I was just like, I had the same argument. It was like, dude, why are you nerfing his pokes? Didn't you want the character to be played like this? But then people were saying that this is just like kind of a universal thing to where they're decreasing block pushback for many of the characters. So, you know, and how can you even analyze this? Like, did it have pushback before? Was it, you know, none of these moves are known for having pushback, like Savage down 4-2, which we'll get to. So I'm gonna ignore that, neutral. So back 4. Change the frame advantage when blocked from -13 frames to negative 14 frames. But also it's now a wall hit, and increase the recovery time after the move hits by 1 frame. That's probably because it's a wall bound, so they want you to combo from it easier. That's cool. That's cool. That's cool. That's a good thing. It's good. 13 to 14 frames, does that hurt? Yeah, it hurts a lot. But considering the change to Savage 2 and now that's safe, then now we have an option at the wall. Because how fast is back 4? I don't even know how fast it is. Probably like 17, 18 frames or something. I don't have it with me. But yeah, that's a good change. Now at wall bound. So if you're doing it against the wall, if you're doing it close to there, it's a power crush that wall bound. So that's a really good option. It's a good change. There's more use for that move, you know. And you don't have to go out of Savage stance. I mean, you don't have to do it in Savage stance, right? It's not gated behind the stance. Good change. 443 changed from 33 to 28. Now this one just is like, just thinking logically, who cares? It was already nuts damage, and if somebody were to miraculously get hit by 443, then the round was over. Especially if you just did your consistent combo. My consistent combo gives 81 or 80 points of damage, I believe. 80 to 81 points of damage. No, 80 to 83 points of damage for the combo I do from it. 83, I believe, for larger characters like Dragunov, Heihachi, and up. And 81 for every other character. So, you know, the damage was insane. This is not even considering wall carry. I can get over 100 damage with 443 with anybody in the cast or against anybody. So, you know, the damage was pretty insane. Let's be honest. So, you know, whatever. But it's just a strange move to just you know, hone in on, because nobody was getting hit by this move, by the way. The move's like 21, 22 frames slow. It's a high. You can't do it out of like a run or something. It's not power crushing, so it's a homing high move that's more than 20 frames slow. So nobody was getting hit by this move, and as a Miguel player, it's very difficult to catch somebody with this move unless they just do like a horrible whiff, and then you can set that up, you know. But to me, it's kind of strange just to look at like that when the move really didn't have much utility in the neutral, since it's so slow and you know. So anyway, all in all, yeah, I can see that being warranted. Okay, so back down. What is this? Oh, new move. I'm not even gonna talk about that. People keep talking about this move as if it's a life raft. Like, well, we understand Miguel just got nerfed to oblivion, but hey man, this new move better be the best move ever. It better be good. Hey man, what do you think it's gonna do? How fast do you think it's gonna be? You know, trying to loop the little season 3 trailer and examine it more. When us other Miguel players are like, why do you guys even care? He didn't need another low. That's the last thing he needed. Look at my season 3 wishlist video. If we could ask for one thing, what would we ask for? Can you please extend his arms on 1-2 and 2-1? Can you please extend the reach of his arms? That's all we ask. And we got a new low after you already had Savage down back 3. And we're gonna talk about that too. That's like, no, that's ridiculous. Ultimately, is it cool he got a new move? Yeah, but that's all you can say. It doesn't matter what this low does. In his utility belt, he did not need a new low. This adds nothing to his gameplay. I'm gonna say that right here before the patch, before the changes even come out and we're able to actually explore it. A new low adds nothing to Miguel's game. He's good with lows. He needs a reason for you to fear ducking. You know what I mean? He doesn't need opponents to duck. He needs an option to make opponents fear ducking. And maybe you can say Savage 2 fits that role, okay. But this is the last thing he needed. And then it just leads me to think, do these people even play Miguel? Do they even play him? Do they know how he's played or what he needs? Or do they listen to us? Or, you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. So, yeah, it's cool he got a new move, but the fact that it's a low and it looks super slow too. And Miguel, trust me, Miguel has plenty of super slow moves. You know what I mean? Trust me, he's good on that category. Like, he's okay with it. He is satiated with that in that realm, you know? So, yeah, I mean, you know, we'll see how it is, but I'm not going to just sit here and pretend that this could save this character or something, or that this will add something meaningful to his game. Like, no, it won't. Stop pretending. Anyway, during Savage Stance 2, change the frame advantage when blocked from -12 frames to -9 frames. Shorten the recovery time after the move hits by 3 frames. All right. This is another thing people are saying, that this is absolutely game changing. The fact that Savage 2 is now safe. Now, I'm going to have to disagree with you guys. Talked about this a little bit on Discord. I'm going to have to disagree with you guys. So, here's the thing. The changes to Savage 2 is, what I would agree with you guys is the change to Savage 2 is great at the wall. Then it's amazing, cool. You know what I mean? But in the neutral, away from the wall, this is largely uneventful and inconsequential to Miguel's gameplay. So first off, it was -12, but it had pushback, and it was completely unseeable with no startup animations. He went straight into the move out of Savage Stance. And the fact that when you see Miguel in Savage Stance, he can do down forward 1, he can do Savage down back 3, he can do the big ass punch, right? So he has super damaging single hit options. So the fact that the opponents know that when they see Miguel in Savage Stance, then by the time this move is already hitting and pushing them back, then they don't even realize the move has been done, if that makes sense, unless you're predictable with it. So dude, who punishes that move? Nobody punishes that move. You know what I mean? Most people probably don't even know the frames to that move or how negative it is. Nobody was punishing that move. That's what I'm trying to say. Especially if you use it at a good distance and it pushed them back. The negative frames of that property wasn't a problem. You know what I mean? Because it came out so quick and it was so undetectable. So in the neutral, Savage 2 will be used kind of the same. You know what I mean? Only thing I'll say in terms of the neutral is the fact that when he recovers by 3 frames, then that means that possibly you might be able to get a guaranteed 4-4-2. Because you remember, if you do Savage 2 near the wall, you can get a guaranteed Savage down 4-2. You can get a guaranteed down 3+4 in certain angles, or you can get a guaranteed ground hit down 3 stomp. So when their back is against the wall, but you don't splat them, you can get a guaranteed hit after Savage 2. But otherwise, you couldn't really get a guaranteed hit because they were too far in the neutral, right? Or just in the open space. So the fact that it's 3 frames faster means that you might be able to run up and do a 4-4-2 after it and get guaranteed. That's cool, you know. But other than that, dude, well, 3 frames isn't a lot, so maybe not. But like I said, in the open space, this changes nothing about Savage 2. It's still the same move. Now let's talk about the wall. People are saying, okay, now I can freely do this against the wall and spam it, right? And then it's all good. It's -9, it's safe, and then it instantly splats them. It has great range, great tracking. So at the wall, then I'll have to agree that yeah, it is a good change to where he does have a scary quick option out of Savage Stance, you know, with a great hitbox and great tracking. But here's the thing though, this isn't like, I would disagree when I say it's game changing, when you guys say it's game changing, because it's not anything Miguel didn't have. You guys are forgetting about Savage up 4-3. which came out 1 frame faster at 15 frames. You know what I mean? Which means if you did a savage down back 3, you did a savage up forward 3, then it'll trade with the jab. It'll beat out everything else. Especially if they're against the wall, it's hard to sidestep it. And so you're gonna get an instant splat, and then you're gonna be able to do do like a little wall conversion, sidestep, and then combo them and do all that stuff, right? So savage up forward 3 already did that against the wall, and it's also -9, by the way. What this move is going to be. So this isn't something Miguel didn't have. It's just savage 2 is better in terms of range and tracking for sure. But I'm saying against the wall where it's harder to sidestep, then it's largely the same as savage up forward 3, but 1 frame slower, which makes all the difference when you're doing a up forward 1 on block. You're doing a back 3 on block. You're doing a savage down back 3 on hit +5 before. Then you want to do a 15 frame because whatever they do is gonna either trade or beat their stuff out, and the jab is not gonna float you because you're not considering in the air on savage up forward 3, I don't believe. So you're still gonna be able to combo. But if you do a savage down back 3 and then do a punch, it's 16 frames, so they can beat you out with a dick jab, right? So like I said, and this video is going to be long, but this isn't something Miguel never had before. That's what I'm trying to tell you guys. It's definitely a great addition, but it's not something Miguel didn't have or Miguel couldn't do. End of the day is gated behind a stance, so you have to be in a position to use it. You have to go into a stance first, either through spacing and whiff punishing or a good timing, or from being plus frames after doing a mix-up and then going into salve. You know what I mean? So against the wall is more effective, like I said, just to throw out and hope it hits. And like I said, the range and the tracking makes it to where, yeah, it's a really good option against the wall for sure. But it's not like, this is definitely his best buff in the list, but then this is where I want to kind of, segue into like, is his best buff better than his worst nerf? You know what I mean? And I'm here to argue that the nerf he got, the one particular nerf he got, is worse than this buff. You know what I mean? But we'll talk about that. Savage down forward 2. Let's go. Let's move on. Savage down forward 2. Decrease the distance between the character and the opponent when the move is blocked. I'm gonna preface this by saying I largely don't really care about this because even what was that dude's name? What was it? I read something on Discord. That was that dude's name. I think his name's Montana or something. He's also a Miguel player on the Miguel Discord. Yeah, he said what I agree with. Like, dude, even during season 1, I was using savage down forward 2, and I wasn't really getting punished for it like that. Especially when you used it at the tip range, it still had pushback. It was still hard to punish, but people weren't looking for it like they were on season 2, So I still used it sparingly, but Savage 2 isn't something to where I just throw out mindlessly. You know what I mean? Even in season 2 when it has amazing pushback, right? That's not part of my game, So me personally, I don't really care about this, but I don't feel like it's that big of a deal, Well, it is in certain situations. It is when whiff punishing, and if you fail to whiff punish, then you're still safe from the pushback more so. Or it is when you're mixing up and you're plus frames, and are you going to go a sweep or are you going to do a savage down forward 2? Then that mix up was a lot more safer with the fact of the pushback, and the fact that it doesn't have as much anymore, then that's bad. So don't get me wrong, in terms of the mix-up style I like to play, it is bad, but I don't think it's that important than the change to than what I'm going to talk about. Savage down back 3, that's what I'm talking about. But yeah, man, second thing I want to say was that second thing I want to say was that a lot of these moves have been regressed to the point where these moves are worse than the season 1 versions, if you think about it. Because again, we need context of season 2 changes. If you go to Savage down forward 2, or is it Savage down forward 2? Now look at this. Opponent further away on hit and block. Homing decreased, right? So okay, we're gonna essentially make this safe, or at least safe from being launched. People can still do like a long range poke and you know, punish you. But we're gonna make this just think of it as minus 14 and under. We're gonna make it like that. But the trade-off is the homing, which was already shitty on Savage down for 2, is even worse. So it's even easier to sidestep Savage down for 2. I mean, Savage down for 2 was weird because sometimes it hit opponents even though you clearly sidestepped it. It had just a weird hitbox. But now we're going to make sure that any attempt on a sidestep is going to be make this thing whiff. So you have to really consciously, even though it's more kind of mindless, but you got to use it at the right time because you can't just use it out of anywhere. You can sidestep it easier. So hey, we make this good, but we're gonna make this worse, right? This trade-off. So now on season 3, this is nullified. We don't know how decreased the distance will be after block. Let's just say it's back to season 1. Let's just say that, you know, to where it's the same as season 1, to where you can, most of the cast can punish it, do a full launch punish. So are we going to get back the homing? You know, is that coming back? You see how they're like Indian givers, dude. They give us this and then they take it then they take it back, right? Or they yeah, they give us this and they take it back. They don't know what they're doing, you know? But they didn't give us this back, you know what I mean? So all we're left with after season 2 and 3 is just the homing on Savage down for 2 decreased. Like I said, we don't know how far it's going to be decreased, but let's assume it's like season 1. Then all we're left with after season 2 and 3 is just decreased homing on Savage down for 2. So it's just like, wow, okay, this is just worse than season 1 now. Which will be proven wrong, like I said, if it's still more pushback than season 1, but we'll see. Now let's see, Savage down 4-3. Great buff, good buff. This is another solid good buff. Just like the down 4-2-1 buff with shortening the frames, right? Just like the down 4-2-1 buff. This is a good buff. The move was actually weak. Very strong option that was underutilized in my opinion because it's natural, even though it's negative on both hits. But the fact that it's 12 from 15 frames, yeah, like somebody else said, it was like, this is a move to where you really want to finish end your opponent. It's like a finishing move, you know? So that 3 damage will be very important in the end of the round type games. And when mixing up in Sav, they boom, boom, you know, guaranteed or natural low. So that's actually really good, you know? It's actually really good, like I said. So to me, that's his best changes. This change and then the down 4-2-1 change. So it's good. It's good. During Savage stance, down back 3. Now, here is the worst change out of Miguel's patch notes, and this is what people aren't talking about enough. This is absolutely monumental. Absolutely. This is a worse nerf than the buff to Savage 2. This has a lot more ramifications than the buff for Savage 2. This changes the way Miguel is played, and it's not an exaggeration. If you think about it, let me ask you a question. What's Miguel's most important move out of Savage stance? What's his best move out of Savage stance? It's a no-brainer. What are you gonna say? Savage 1-1? No. Savage down 4-2? That's close because of the pushback, but now that it doesn't have that, it's a useless move, you know, with less tracking. But ultimately, it was just a launch that was still launch punishable. That was linear. So what are you gonna say, Savage down back 4? No, that was way too slow. And for a for a snake edge, you couldn't even get a full combo. No, Savage 4 homing is good, but it's high. You know what I mean? There's nothing like, if you think about it, think about that question. What's the best move out of Savage stance? It's clearly Savage down back 3. Clearly. A super damaging low. And what was the damage change from season 2? Savage down back 3. Damage change from 17 to 20, right? Super damaging low. You do it once, because I often do this. Do Savage down back 3 once. Do it down forward 1. It's +5. They either gonna block it or get interrupted. Boom. Do a Savage down back 3 again. Do a Savage down back 3 again. At that point, they've already gotten like 65, 68 plus damage. You know what I mean? I've already done a full combo on them just by doing Savage down back 3 times, 2 times. You know what I mean? Or just do it twice. Boom, boom, and then backdash, or do something else. Or you know what I mean? Just in that heat of the battle, they collect damage quick, and it's +5. That's huge. And they're crouched, so they don't have access to their full move list. You know what I mean? Nor can they sidestep a certain direction because of what side they're on. The move was, I'm not going to be a prisoner of the moment, but definitely top 3 moves Miguel has for sure. Definitely top 3. Definitely the top move out of Savage stance, to where it leaves them exactly where you want them, still standing. You got a healthy +5, and you have access to go back into Sav or come out of it. You know what I mean? Great range, great range, great tracking also. Just amazing move, amazing. That's what I was gonna say. So yeah, this was the most important move out of Savage stance for sure. And it's not like Savage 2 to where it has more use against the wall as a wall splitting option. It has more use as a combo ender, stuff like that, right? Nah, dude. Or after like a forward 1+2 and then Savage 2, that's more use as that. Savage number 3 had use everywhere in the map, from in the wall to in open space. And if you get a counter hit, you get a 60. What is it? You get a 60 damage combo and a 62 damage combo. No, a 62 damage combo or 64, one of those. To where you do a counter hit Savage down back 2, then you do a full 4-2-1. And since the move is so kind of undetectable, but it's also super slow, and his movements are kind of when you do the move, you can tell, I don't know how to explain it, but you can tell like where the move is at. You know what I mean? Like when you counter hit somebody, then it's, to me, it's doable to convert a 4-4-2-1 into a Savage down for 2 after doing that, to get like a 62 damage combo or something. 64, I think, right? No, 62, one of them, I don't know. But you could get a 60 plus damage combo from doing a counter hit Savage down back 3, which was actually pretty doable. You know what I mean? So both on hit and on counter hit, this move was amazing, absolutely amazing. And it was the anchor to Miguel's Savage stance. You do the move, boom, it has that loud sound similar to Brian's soccer kick, and then you continue your offense. You're in complete control of the match after hitting them with that move. That move is what scares the opponent to duck against Miguel, because they don't want to get hit by that, right? Damn, that was a long explanation. But listen, dude, +5 to +4 frames. There's like no words to explain how bad that is. +5 to +4, and the change the opponent's behavior when hit. So you're telling me, because remember, Miguel is very steppable to his right? So he doesn't have any mid that's slower than 13 frames, right? So when I did my Savage down back 3, I could do a down forward 1, or I can do anything. If they sidestep, then I have plenty of options for that. I could do Savage 4, Savage 4 comes out 15 frames, so it's going to trade with well, actually, unless they do a down jab, it's going to beat out everything else. If they try and sidestep, it's going to impact them, right? Unless they sidestep and duck, but that's gonna clear sidesteppers. Savage 4. Not only that, but I have a mid option. I have a mid. If all else fails and they choose to sidestep duck to Miguel's weak side, then I have an option to beat out all of that. Down for a single down for 4, the knee. That comes out in 14 frames. That's important. Comes out in 14 frames on a move that leaves you +5, which means that the opponent cannot do anything if they choose to sidestep right and or duck against Miguel, which is the best option to do after being minus against Miguel. If they choose to do that, they can't dig jab me because mine will come out in 9 frames. They can't sidestep because that down 4 comes out to the weak side, and they can't duck because it's a mid. So at least I had an option to check opponents, and if I hit them with a down 4, what is that, like 4 + 4 + 5? I'm still plus after hitting them with that. Or if I continue down 4-4-1, then I'm +6, I believe. I'm +5. I need to pull up the frames. Give me a second. This is gonna be a long video, so I might put timestamps to show. Yeah, let me pull up the frames. This is ridiculous. I didn't already have that up. All right, so let's see. Down forward 4. Where is that? Yeah, down forward 4. It's +4 to +5. See, this never gives you the accurate. It's never accurate. So down 4-4 is +4 to +5. Down 4-4-1 is +6. So if I do a single down 4-4 after doing a savage down back 3, then if you sidestep to my weak side, you duck, you're gonna get hit, and I'm +4 or +5. If you block it, then I'm still safe. So I had an option to beat out all the opponent's evasive options. You know what I mean? And if I don't think they're gonna do that, if I don't think they're gonna sidestep at all, then I can just do a down for 1 series, and then that's gonna beat out everything, right? So even though Miguel is vulnerable to defensive options like that, being +5 gave him options to counter against that. The fact that this is +4 now, what does that mean? That means that I don't have one single option to beat out all of the opponent's retaliatory, evasive maneuvers. I don't have not one option because I can no longer do down forward 4. I can no longer do that. Or actually I can, but it's going to trade with a down jab now if I just do that, right? What else? Oh, I didn't talk about that. Savage back 1 series, Savage back 1 to 4. That's 14 frames. If they're at +5 and not do that, then it's going to beat out everything. They have to sidestep. If they don't sidestep, it's going to beat out everything. And then if I do Savage back 1 to 4, now I'm at +9. I just hit you 20 damage. 20 damage, right? You're at +5. Now I did Savage back 1, 4. And now I got you even more damage. Now I'm at +9. You see, I can continue my offense like that, right? And if you watch my ranked compilation videos, you'll see me do that stuff all the time. Because, like I said, Savage back 1 comes out in 14 frames. So you can't beat it out. But the fact that it's +4, what does that mean? That means that like it's gonna trade with down jabs, you know what I mean? Actually, I keep saying down jab, but I didn't even read the second part of this. No, it's gonna trade with a jab. Change the opponent's behavior on hit. What does that mean? Okay, before it made them crouch. So I think a good assumption would be that it may leave them standing. So now they have access to their whole command list. So they can do a jab or any other 10 frame move. Or if you're Yoshi or Xiao Yu can do her little 8 frame back 1, right? And Yoshi can do his flash. I don't even know how fast that comes out, 7 frames or something. So now they have access to that. You know what I mean? Not to mention they can just jab. So I can't even reliably do a Savage down back 3 into a back 1 because I can get beat out by, I can trade with jabs. You know what I mean? I can't reliably do a savage or a down 4/4 because I can trade with jabs. So all my reliable fastest options are now you're able to trade with it. So what does that leave me with? Okay, because at the minimum you want to do a move that comes out in 9 frames relatively to the opponent, right? So that means that my down forward 1 is going to come out in 9 frames since it's a 13 frame move and the opponent is -4. So like I said, dude, that see how it just limits your options. Now I can only do a down for 1, and so I'm gonna be predictable. So really, it's not even gonna be smart to do a to continue moves after a savage down back 3. I read a Discord comment where somebody said that at this point, you know, it's just smarter to come to not even stay in savage after that and just you know, just work off that, you know. So it's going to be discouraged to even continue attacking after savage down back 3. With that move being his key move out of savage, his best move out of savage stance, you just ruin that move with just a 1 frame change. It's not an exaggeration, you know. So, okay, you don't want him to be played as a mix-up character. Again, I keep going back to that. Then how do you want him to be played? As a poking character? Okay, cool. But you reduce the damage to 4/3, but you reduce the range to 4. How do you want this character to be played? People keep saying a meme. They want Miguel to be played at range -1. It's just like, it's so funny because it's kind of true. It's just like, what do you want from this character? You keep limiting both the sides of the coin, his poking stuff and then his mix-up stuff. Just like, what do you want? You know? So, and also let me talk like for savage down back 3, is this move now better or worse than season 1? Season 1 it was 17 damage, but it was still +5. Now after season 3 it's going to be 3 points more of damage, but it's going to be +4. So is this move better or worse? I think many people will prefer a damage reduction if it means I can get a higher advantage on hit. You know what I mean? So I'm going on to say Savage Jump 3 is worse than season 2, or it's worse than season 1. Savage Jump 3. Not only Savage Down for 2, but Savage Down Back 3 is worse than than his, you know, than those counterparts on season 1. That's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. Decrease the distance, but yeah, we already talked about that. Now, last thing is approach enemy after you do a down 4/1/2. You can go into savage. That's cool. More for style points. That's cool. You know, remember on my Miguel wishlist video, which I'll link to or have it up here on the screen. Remember on that video I said, hey, can you give him more transitions to savage stance? Was I talking about the throw? No, but that works. You know, it's cool. It makes it more of a mix-up game after you throw. Only problem with this is that the throw leaves them kind of like at range 1 or a little bit further than that. You know what I mean? It leaves them kind of just in range for a down forward 1. So it'd be better if it left them like right up to Miguel. But the fact that it leaves them close or at range 1 means that they can actually backdash out a lot of your stuff. You know what I mean? That's the only problem I have with that throw. So yeah, it's cool you can go into savage, but it leaves them kind of too far after you do the throw at +5. But against the wall, then now will be deadly against the wall, given that they can't break throws. But again, Miguel doesn't have a throw mix-up game, so you're either doing a regular throw or you're doing a 1+2 break. It's like Gigas. That's why it's so easy to pair Gigas and stuff, because what does he have? You know, if you just have a 1+2 throw, then people are going to parry 1+2. You know, so. But despite all that, then that's a good addition. You know, it's more for style points though, like I said. And if you manage to get a throw against a wall, then it becomes actually an effective mix-up. So that's it, man. There's a few points I want to say. Let's see here. Yeah, I already talked about that. One of the things I want to say is that on why these changes happen and why it seems so like do they hate Miguel or something, or do they have a bone to pick with him? And people were saying Miguel's like a mid tier or lower character. He's very underrepresented. You don't see him in tournaments. Why do they nerf him? Who was even playing him? You know what I mean? People outside of Miguel's community are kind of wondering like, why did that happen? You know what I mean? This is my theory as to why it happens. And this is what I said on Twitter and a bunch of other places. The bottom line is not enough people. I guess you can say not enough people play Miguel. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to say not enough Miguel players are vocal about the changes he needs. Clearly, they're not getting the message. Clearly, they're not seeing that, hey, his arm range needs to improve. This is a problem. You know what I mean? Hey, can you give him another rage drive like you said you would? You know? Like, his rage drive is probably the worst rage drive in the game. These things keep failing to change. Why is that? Well, like I said, this is my theory. It's like, in terms of the Namco, the Bamco team, the Tekken team, they're the people who make the game. They're responsible for all these different things. They're not competitive players. They don't spend as much time with the character as actual Jin player or actual Miguel player or an actual competitive, Miguel player or a Kazuya player, right? They're the ones who are going to spend the most time in training mode because that's their job. Or if just an enthusiast of a character like me for Miguel, I guarantee you I've spent more time playing Miguel than probably most of these developers, in terms of just training, finding out new combos, stuff like that, right? For instance, like one of the things I believe I discovered was Savage down back 4 into crouch cancel 3-4. I don't think the developers knew that was possible. You know what I mean? After season 2 change, they just made 3-4 faster to give him a better 13 frame punish. They didn't expect that to be able to get a full combo conversion after Savage down back 4. But I put that in my video because through training I discovered, hey, you can do that, right? So that's one of the things to where actually players kind of know a little bit more than them about the game, in my opinion. I could be wrong. But based on the change list, I don't believe I'm wrong based on how these things have changed. So I say that because whatever's brought to their team, whatever's brought to their attention, they're gonna change accordingly, So since Miguel's underrepresented, not a lot of people play him, and even less people are vocal about their disapproval, with his changes or his gameplay or what he needs fixed, then to their attention, they're going to get a lot more people who are complaining about Miguel than people who are playing Miguel. They're going to get a lot more people who play against Miguel than the players who play Miguel. So, and people don't talk about a character unless something is cheap or broken, like Heihachi's 442 or freaking Devil Jin's Hell Sweep or something. People don't care about characters they don't play unless there's something that's exploitable, something that they feel is too good. Then they'll be like, hey, that needs to be changed. Wow, oh, that character, yeah, he has that. Wow, so good. You know what I mean? So what were people saying about Miguel prior to season 3? Hey, Savage down for 2, man, that's ridiculous. I can't punish that at all. It's so good, Also, Savage down back 3. The damage buff and the sound buff made it to where it's like, wow, I can't do anything after getting hit by this sweep. I can't even see it coming, and it's so plus on block on hit. It's cheap. It just locks me down. You know what I mean? So all the feedback they're going to be getting is going to be towards people playing against Miguel, since not enough Tekken Miguel players are speaking for him. You know what I mean? So that's why you see just massive nerfs to Savage down for 2 and Savage down back 3. It's because all what they've been getting is just, like I said, it's just his key exploitable moves. They've been getting feedback on, hey, can you please nerf his key exploitable moves? But the people who play against Miguel only notice the obvious good stuff. They're not noticing that, hey, his arm range needs to be increased. Hey, he needs a good safe wall splatting mid. Hey, he needs, you know what I mean? More tracking and hitbox increase on a lot of his savage moves, because his savage moves in general have horrendous tracking. They don't care about all that. People who don't play a character don't care about the character's shortcomings. That just makes them easier to beat. So that's good in their book. If it's easier to beat this opponent, you know what I mean? It's like Gigas or something. He's a bad character, but do people really care other than Gigas players? No, because that's their opponent. You know what I mean? So it's better if a character is weak than a character is too strong. Then people outside of that character base will complain. So that's exactly what's going on. It's just all the feedback they've been getting is for people complaining about two of Miguel's more exploitable good moves, and so that's why that nerf hammer came to Miguel, and yet none of his things that he really needed was fixed. I don't think any Miguel player will complain if that Savage down for 2 or even Savage down back 3 was nerfed, if it meant, hey, can I get a increase in range for my arms? Can I get a reworked rage drive that's actually useful? You know what I mean? Those changes wouldn't be complained about as much if they've changed what actually needs to be fixed. So that's my opinion, dude, about this whole thing. I know this was super long. I don't know how long this video is gonna be, but that's my opinion about this whole thing. It's like, ultimately, are these Miguel changes like character breaking? No, Miguel's still gonna be played how he's gonna be played. He's still gonna be played how he's gonna be played. You know, he still has strong tools and stuff like that. But what comes down to it is how bad of a nerf is Savage down back 3 gonna be, and how good of a buff is the Savage 2 gonna be. That's what it comes down to. Everything else is just fluff. But those two moves, one got buffed tremendously, one got nerfed tremendously. So we'll see how that plays out and how strong or effective Miguel's game is based on Savage 2 and Savage down back 3. But other than that, then he's largely still the same character. But like I said, I just feel that more of these complaints, because here we are now, season 3. When did the game come out? 2015 in arcades in Japan, 2017 in worldwide. Here we are 2 years later, and we still don't have a buff to his rage drive. We still don't have an increase in his T-Rex arms. So when is it gonna happen? You know what I mean? You just gotta bring it to their attention at the end of the day. So that's my opinion. That's my opinion on these changes. I'm still excited to play the game, obviously, after the changes come out, and see what exactly he can do, especially his new move. Obviously, as far as Miguel enthusiasts, we'll, like people are saying, dude, we'll somebody said, I don't care if the character has no arms, I'll still play this character. Like, if you love a character, you're gonna play him regardless, and you might still complain, but you'll play him. So that's my thoughts. I'll see you guys later.